You know what that sound means, folks. Another noon whistle. I'm Chris Trottier.
And I'm John Anzalone. And we are here with Emma Scaro, owner-operator of Chiros in Motion. Emma is a 2013 graduate of Elkhorn High School and a graduate of Eastern Illinois University, where she also played soccer. Emma, welcome.
Yeah, thank you guys
for being
here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Just to share a little bit more about Emma before we get going, and I'm gonna refer to my paper because I won't remember this. Emma, well traveled. You played professional soccer in Northern Ireland and Sweden. You have a master's degree in sports medicine and a doctorate in chiropractic. You did an internship under Bill Moreau, who was the chief medical officer for the United States Olympic Committee. Wow, impressive. Thanks for taking time for us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and Chiros in Motion is located at, is it 230 West Evergreen Parkway? Is that right?
Yes, it is. So it's right across the street from Evergreen if you go across 12.
Okay, great. So how long have you been there?
We opened up this location in July of this past year. So we've only been here about 6 months or so.
Okay, 6 months in your building, but before that you were still practicing, correct?
Yeah, we started as a traveling clinic. So we were doing house visits, and then we're also working with small businesses. So we'd stop at a business for a couple hours on set days, and then patients could find us that way. But now we have a permanent location, which has been pretty exciting.
Okay. Do you still do any traveling?
Not anymore. We only do events. So we worked the Oktoberfest 5K last fall.
Okay.
So we do stuff like that where we just travel in that way instead.
Okay. Yeah. Are there any, tell us a little bit about the chiropractic. Your practice is it's a little different than maybe a traditional chiropractor.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a lot more services to offer than just your general chiropractic adjustment. We have exercises. We're really exercise based. So when you come in with pain, we usually do a form of soft tissue work, which is pretty much a massage in some way. So we offer cupping. There's a tool called Graston. It's like a scraping tool. So we offer a realm of soft tissue work. And then after that, we give exercises on top of the adjustments. And then the biggest key for me is just educating patients on, the pain they're experiencing and how they can stay out of pain longer than just coming in the door and getting an adjustment and then leaving.
As you were sharing your responses, you said we. Who else is involved? Who else is connected to Chiros in Motion? Is it just you, or are there other doctors and chiropractors?
Yeah, so there's another chiropractor who's a co-owner with me. His name's Dr. Jay White. He's also a sports chiropractor, and we own the clinic together.
How does sports? You said sports chiropractic. How does that differ from non-sports chiropractic? Is there a difference, or?
Yeah, so in order to be a certified sports chiropractor, you have to have additional training. So you have over 100 hours of sports-specific care, learning extra information on sports injuries and how to handle them, and then also just follow-ups. So we're just a little bit more specialized in the sports world specifically, and we get a little bit more education on rehab-based care plans.
Emma, what made you choose chiropractic? You are a Division I athlete, played soccer at a high level. What made you think this is what I want to do?
Yeah, so I suffered a lot of knee injuries. I've had 5 knee surgeries total, and I had a lot of frustration with it because I kept wondering why the heck this was happening. And I ran into a lot of really good providers and a lot of not so good providers along the way. So I just wanted to commit, my career path to help people prevent injuries like I had suffered. So that's what got me into it. I actually was supposed to get a hip surgery, which I was told I needed. And then I went to a chiropractor, and 2 weeks later I was back on the field playing. So I had a big change, after seeing a chiropractor, and that's how I chose my path.
I was just curious, do you see any trends with young athletes? Any injuries that are either for overuse or just kind of repeating in different patients? Any trends with current athletes?
Yeah, so it's pretty each sport has a higher injury risk for certain types of injury. For instance, a lot of soccer players, one of the number one injuries is hamstring strains. So I see a lot of repeat hamstring or quad strains in soccer players. Whereas gymnasts, they experience a lot of back pain because they go through so much extension movements. So depending on the sport, there's a lot of repeat injuries, but there's a lot of precautions you can take depending on the sport you're in to, prevent the likelihood of overuse injuries from occurring.
John, what do you think the common injury would be for 50-year-old Friday men's basketball at Elkhorn High School? What's the common thread?
All I could go by is how I feel in the morning on Saturday. So I think there's too many to list. But I'm sure Emma could help us.
Correct. Emma, you'd ask, hey, Chris, John, where does it hurt? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
My earlobes hurt.
Emma, you guys have an interesting tool that you use there, and you've shown me a little bit, but I forget the name of it, but it's like sleeves that go on your legs and arms.
Yep. It's called Normatec compression sleeves. That's actually really good for sore muscles. So, when you guys are feeling sore when you wake up the next day.
So when you see 10 older men show up on Friday at 8:00 at your business,
yep,
that's what we're looking for.
All right. Sounds good.
Give us some free shirts and we'll just wear them so that everybody knows where to go.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Emma, obviously you're successful, not only as a student athlete, but as, a small business owner, hopefully growing into a large business owner. You've been successful at every level. I have to ask, our paths missed by 1 year when I came to the principal at the high school. Tell me a little bit about, how do you think your experience growing up in the Elkhorn community or being a student at Elkhorn Area School District, how did it prepare you for college athletics, professional athletics, anything in your current state? Just talk about your preparation.
Yeah, definitely. So I went to St. Patrick's School District. I think they closed about 8 years ago. That was until 8th grade. So I went to St. Pat's until high school, and I was super, super excited to go to public school because I was super social, and we only had 12 people in my class. So the transition was a little bit difficult because, the high school is way bigger for me. But overall, had a super positive experience. And I really enjoyed the AP classes that Elkhorn had provided. So it gave a little bit of leeway into college in that way. So, and I just remember taking some of the AP courses too, like AP Psych. It was a huge step up from a lot of the other classes. So it really prepared me for when I entered college. Because I remember being super overwhelmed, but it was a good stepping stone because then by the time I got to college, I was realizing, this is the workload that you expect, especially being a soccer player in college. There's a lot of organization and prioritizing that you have to do. So that's how I was better prepared.
What attributes do you think that you have that helped you be successful? And I guess before we answer that, I see Amy Demeter gave you a shout out.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Amy.
Yeah. Yes. So that we wanted to post that so everybody could see. That's a nice little shout out to your work, and we appreciate Mrs. Demeter for joining in and joining our noon whistle. But anyways, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Yeah, just what kind of attributes do you have or have learned over time that carried you through as to be successful as an athlete, a student, a business owner?
Yeah. So that's a pretty heavy question because there's a lot of, pieces to that. But if we're focusing on sports and doing school on top of that, I think truly loving what you're doing is super, super important, because if you don't love what you're doing, then it becomes more of a chore. And in your brain, you have to work twice as hard while you're doing the activity and school on top of it. So the first thing was I just love the sport and I love to compete, not just in soccer and against other people, but against myself. I am very self-motivated and competitive in that way. So that's one. And then what was the other question?
No, that's what I was looking for as far as attributes. Like, that work ethic, the organization, the planning, the
will, the drive,
motivated. All those things that are important, that obviously you're a young lady right out of school, you have your own business. And I forgot to mention, now you and Dr. J also practice at a couple different places during the week, correct?
Yep. So I'm starting to practice in Franklin starting March 1st. I'll actually be working out of the Midwest Orthopedic Specialty Hospital. So I'll only be spending 12 hours a week there, but it's with a whole group of really great orthopedic surgeons. There's an MRI on site and imaging on site, so it'll be really good for patient referrals and efficiency. So I'm starting there, and then Jay started in Waukesha working for another sports clinic. It's called Elite Sport and Spine.
And so you guys will be doing that, and kind of one of you will be back in your Chiros and Motion office when the other is on site somewhere else?
Yep. So we're open full hours here, like 40 hours a week at Chiros and Motion in Elkhorn, between the two of us. So
nice. What are your hours there?
So our hours are 8 to 7 Monday through Thursday, and then 8 to 4 on Friday.
Okay.
And then occasionally we take patients on Saturday, depending on, the severity, and then if we're around.
Is that something that if something came up, there is a number to call to say, hey, I'm wondering if I could get in this weekend or something. This is really bothering me?
Yep, definitely.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Emma, if you had to, this is the educator in me, if you had to give students now or student athletes, pick one, advice, what would be your top 3 recommendations as a professional, educated professional who competed at every level? What would you tell those students sitting in the high school right now? What's your best couple pieces of advice?
Yep. So my first advice is figure out what your values are and really, really stay true to what they are. So before we even started the business, Jay and I sat down and said, hey, this is our top values, not just in business or in sport, it's in life. And what do those values mean to you as an individual? And then as you continue with your career, whether it's, going to college and picking a choice, what are your values, and make sure you keep them top of your list. The second thing is I learned throughout this whole process is to make sure that you actually are keeping track of, I call them outcome markers. We do this in chiropractic care, so you just are making sure that you're getting better. But for example, in soccer, I wouldn't go and just juggle 20 juggles and then call it a day. It's like last week I had 20 juggles. This week I'm getting 25. I'm not going to stop until I hit 25. So making sure that you're actually setting a standard for yourself and measuring it, because if you just go out and play, yeah, you can kick a ball against the wall 50 times, but how many of those were actual successful passes that were quality, rather than just doing repetitions without quality? So that would be another thing. So you can always set a standard for yourself. Just make sure you're tracking the standard that you set.
Got it. Good advice. John, what do you think? Time for some thank yous?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, yeah, we've got time for some thank yous. And I don't know if we want to go first, and maybe Emma can think about, we always throw in a thank you to someone or something, or an event or a business or something like that. And you're welcome to join in, but this is kind of how we wrap up.
Cool.
You want me to go first?
I'll start. I have 2.
Oh, bring it.
Is that allowed on the new?
Oh, yeah. We'll give you 2.
Okay. So I want to give a shout out to Sarah Boss. She's the executive director of the Walworth County Housing Authority, and I'd like to give a shout out to Habitat for Humanity of Walworth County. Both of them are working through their own organizations, their own values, goals, to find ways to partner up with the Elkhorn Area School District and the Elkhorn Youth Build. So we may have new partners in our next construction of a home. So big shout out to those, Sarah and Habitat for Humanity.
Very good. That's a great one, or great 2, I guess I should say. Mine is going to go to, I guess I should explain first. Last night was the Friends of the District Awards, and one of my favorite nights of the year, where the district recognizes people who have volunteered or given help to different schools or or entities within the district. And the nominees were amazing. I always love to see them get their awards. And I love seeing them. This year was West Side artwork that they were presented with. And
Awesome.
yeah, it's just a fun, feel good event. And yeah, so I guess my thanks is to the district, our volunteers, and all the people that make that possible. It was a good night.
Good. All right, Emma.
Got
Yeah.
one?
Got one?
Well, I do. Well, this is a little bit more personal to Kyra's Emotion just because she's been helping out so much.
Great.
But DIY in Elkhorn, Sam Mahoney, she owns it. And I just think it's a really fun place where a lot of kids can go and create designs. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but
Shout out to Sammy, Elkhorn alumni as well, right?
yep.
Time to
Yeah.
get her on. What do you think?
Well, it is time to get her on.
And one, I'm going to start a petition right now. There's a neighboring district that has signs as you enter their town of a Eastern Illinois athlete. Burlington does. I think we should do the same thing for Emma. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a nice big billboard out there by her business.
What do you think?
We
Yeah.
could put her picture with an arrow. It just
We'll
says
just
put
put
on
the
everything.
best Eastern Illinois athlete ever
Oh.
who doesn't do CBS and played for the Cowboys, right? I mean, what do you think? All right. Well, thanks, Emma, for
Yeah,
being
thank you.
on, and we appreciate it. And you know that sound means
Here we go.
another
Thank
new
you so
whistle.
much,
Thanks,
Emma.
Emma.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.